Hello and welcome to another history video. So today we're taking a look at Hollow 1 Cool But Rude in history format. So it's been such a long time since I've actually covered a Hollow 1 deck, and we actually got quite a bit of cards that has been kind of stacking up, which might actually bring back Hollow 1 up a tier. So we're gonna be going over all the new cards that were added since I've covered Hollow 1, and starting with Cool But Rude. This is a new card from the new Ninja Turtle set. It's a 2-mana enchantment that says whenever you attack, you discard a card, and if you do, you draw a card. Obviously, something like this is really good for this deck because not only is it an enchantment that gives you that enchantment type in the graveyard, but it also lets you help grow things like Nethergoyf, Marauding Mako, Barrogoyf before the damage connects to your opponent. But of course, not to mention, this can also help you cast something like a Hollow 1 if you looting and then attack with the creature, and then Hollow 1 now costs 0 mana. So that's another way you can also get the Hollow 1 out without much trouble. So this thing already does a lot for the deck, but if you level it up to level 2, it even gets better. Now our deck becomes a burn deck. It says whenever you discard a card, this class deals 2 damage to each opponent. Whenever you play looting, it deals 4 damage. Whenever you mountain cycling or swamp cycling with Troll or Oliphant, it'll also deal 2 damage, which is really cool. And of course, if you just attack with the card, it'll trigger the first portion of the Cool But Rude and then the second portion. So now this deck also has access to some burn potential. And if you also upgrade to level 3, although it's random, this is a tutor effect, you could potentially get a Chain Lightning and then deal additional 5 damage, since you're also going to be discarding a card at random. Or let's say if you tutor for a Detective Phoenix, even if the Detective Phoenix goes to the graveyard, this will guarantee you dealing 4 additional damage from bestowing, plus the discard effect from the Cool But Rude. So this card is actually very amazing for this deck. And the other card that we got as of recent is Tarfire. Arena didn't have access to this card until recently, and being a Kindred instant speed card, this gives you 2 different types in the graveyard, which can help Nethergoyf grow. Or even playing something like a Barrogoyf. The Barrogoyf also helps you fill up the graveyard, which in turn grows itself. And you can also put things like Detective Phoenix or the Nethergoyf into the graveyard. So the Barrogoyf is also a new addition as well, since I played the Hollow 1. So I'm sure this card is also going to be really good, especially if you pair it up with the Detective Phoenix as well. You know, Barrogoyf having Flying and Haste, that's really broken. Lastly, against Greedy Mana Base, now Historic also has access to Magus of the Moon. We're playing 6 basics with 4 copies of Prismatic Vista and Troll of Khazad-dûm. So playing something like a Magus of the Moon is also game winning against those Greedy Mana Base decks. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to try this deck out. So having said that, I'm gonna be hopping over to some History Best of 3 to show you guys what the deck does. So let's hop on over. Okay. Looks excellent. We're playing against the Kapala here. They're on Giganta. Should I set up Cool But Rude? I feel like I should. What am I discarding though? Maybe a land? Ooh, that's a good one. So next turn we can play the Hollow 1 for free. Another looting. That might be a little bit too much though. Another looting, that is. Let's say I get the Chain Lightning out. The thing is, a Barrogoyf could come out next turn, right? Let's say I looting. Oh, wow. Oh, they blocked. They chump blocked. I mean, that's a really, really fast start that we have, but again, you know, Baraglyph could come out here. But I bottomed the Fatal Push because I got a little bit greedy, and we currently don't have a way to trigger the Revolt. But maybe that was wrong. So Baraglyph does come out. Opponent takes 8 damage. Or if they get greedy, they take 10 damage. But opponent goes up to... So they're effectively at 16 at the moment. I can't discard the Tarfire because this thing grows, by the way. What to do? I think we just attack. So putting the Tarfire will make this 6-7. I had to discard the Chain Lightning. So opponent takes 10 damage. And then they go up to 4. And then the looting will deal 4 damage. All right. Chain Lightning not as good in this matchup because like Jar Soul needs to be answered like immediately. And Baraglyph also can't be dealt with the Chain Lightning, so we're gonna slot in Bitter Triumph. Potentially we want Thought Seizes. Maybe. Maybe the deck also needs like Unlicensed Hearse in the sideboard. Yeah. But man, we did so much damage. We actually did so much damage. So we're gonna Tarfire. And opponent surrenders! GG. They must have kept a 1-lander and they just didn't draw a land here. Alright. Wonderful hand. So I'm guessing this is another Aura. Sunbaked Canyon. So I think what we should do is probably grab a mountain and then grab a swamp with this. We're gonna go with the Blood Crypt. It's because I have too many red sources here. And I'll probably pass here. Okay, we're gonna pass. Yeah, I think this is Aura. This is probably Aura, right? I think we might start with Which removal spells do we want to use? I'll use a Tarp Fire. And then we're gonna looting. And we're gonna play Marauding Mako. So they might put the Loris back into their hand. They don't have anything. Top partition. Definitely rude. So they're gonna take away probably a Fatal Push here. Gonna looting again. Found another Chain Lightning. Play the hollow one. Okay. So Loris is gonna come down here. If they have a Shard Mage's Rescue, they might not use it. But if they don't, they're also gonna die, so... Looks like the game's over then. We have 6, 9... 12, 15. We have 15 damage. Alright, nowhere to run. -2 Cool But Rude, Snuff Out. Bitter Triumph. We want to go down on... Expensive card. Barrogoyf. Maybe a copy of a Detective Phoenix. And... maybe just go down on Cool But Rude going second against a really, really aggressive deck. Okay, we have a Fatal Push. Sometimes Fatal Push is not enough, but I'm willing to keep it. Since we have a looting to potentially get into our removal spells. You know? Zero, 1 Goyf. Usually when you see this kind of play, it probably means they have a Shard Mage's Rescue. Definitely not good. Okay, somehow it's stuck. That's good. But obviously they have an Esper Sentinel. Detective Phoenix. So what to do? I guess I'll just play Cool But Rude. Get the non-creature spells out of the way. A Danto Vanguard. Not what I had expected. Let us attack. A Rotting Mako. I think I'm just gonna play another Goyf here. Wow, if I didn't discard the Faithless Looting, we would have won! What? Okay, kind of a weekend, kind of a weekend. I might just cycle this, ooh. Huh. You don't say. So we're gonna pass here without attacking. But I have a plan. Maybe they play a creature here and then we can Molten Collapse and get some value out of this. Arcbound Ravager. What do we think about getting rid of a land instead of a Drix Interlacer? Oh no, it says non-land. I will say this start is very, very weak though. We have a very weak start. Tormod's Crypt into a drum, into another drum, into a Thought Cast. Okay, that's actually pretty good. I think I'll just discard the hollow one. And the opponent's probably going to Tormod's Crypt here. Okay, that sticks. So we have a 4 damage burn coming out next turn with the Oliphant plus a Coolbout Rood. So they're kind of at 6 life total at the moment. Okay, Kaba Cannoneer comes out. a Phoenix. Interesting. I wonder if it's actually just better to detect the Phoenix right now. And then just get in there for damage. Interesting. Since the Tormos Crypt is just going to get value anyways, right? So, might as well just do this. Get in there for damage. So if my opponent can kill me at 17 here, I will be impressed. Yeah, I'll be impressed. I mean, that's a start. Double Emissary. I mean, that is definitely a start. That is the perfect hand they needed to see. They need to play 3 more artifacts? Yeah, they would need 3 more artifacts here. But they just drew 4. And they have 2 mana. But now they just need 1 more. Wow. Okay, opponent, that was actually very impressive that you were able to do that. That was actually kind of insane. Yeah, that was actually a bit too unreal. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Okay, well, that just happened. I didn't think it was possible, but they have somehow done it. That was crazy. That was crazy. So, Nethergoyf is not going to be as good against opponent. Since they're making decking that card. Yeah, maybe we just get rid of Nethergoyfs. That was a bit absurd, wasn't it? Would have been nice if it was an artifact land. Marauding Mako. I guess Hollow One's still better than Marauding Mako. Another Interlacer. That's a land. the Springleaf Drum. Are they gonna draw? No, they're gonna pass. Let's Brotherhood's End. I hope I draw land so I can Barragoyf and then Detective Phoenix. I think it's gonna be pretty hard for them to win at least this time around because of we have a life linker. At least. Okay, I think this time we probably will win here. Let's see if I can looting into something. Cool, but rude. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, got there. I guess they can, you know, make their graveyard. I should have actually played this. Nah, they're going to exile their own graveyard, right? No? Okay. Let's do it again. Okay, let's see Brotherhood's End, Meltdown, things like that. This hand... Like, it looks good, but... I don't know. Like, it's not a Meltdown hand, so I'm kind of, like, hesitant. Maybe I should have mulliganed. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should have mulliganed. Oh, I should have mulliganed. I should have mulliganed, definitely. We might lose just because like I don't have a way to answer this board. It's a lot of lands. No! We're gonna lose. They have 6 mana now. Okay, Chain Lightning. The reason why I Chain Lightninged was I wanted to potentially bait out a Mystical Dispute that they might actually have. Maybe I shouldn't have Chain Lightning then. Maybe just going Molten Collapse was probably the play. I should have maybe just played the Molten Collapse immediately. So I thought they might have Mystical Dispute and potentially I might be able to bait out a Chain Lightning if they're really trying to build up affinity. I got greedy, basically. I got greedy. I shouldn't have gone greedy. Oh. Two, three, four, five, six. Okay, Harbingers. So they're dead next turn. All right, GG's. All right, we're playing as a Giganta opponent. This hand is not very aggressive. I like this hand a lot more. We're gonna start with the Mako. No, my troll wife. I thought for sure opponent was gonna take away my Mako here, but they did not. Mana Confluence. Interesting. See what happens here. Pyroglyph on that thing. All right, we are gonna be able to win here, and they're dead since that was the last Delirium. Bitter Triumph comes in. I think chain lightning. I think the way we sideboarded was we took out the chain lightnings. And then we put in 2 copies of Thought Seizes. So I think this is what we did. So we got a Mako start. It's definitely not as explosive as I like, but you know, drawing a Faithless Looting could change things. Oh my god. As we say that. We got a looting. Okay, Baraglyphs. Kind of scary. We got our own Baraglyph. How are we gonna deal with this thing? Okay, that's fine. Maybe we'll draw... Oh, they have the Pyroglyph combo now. Well, that's not good. That is definitely not good. I need a Fatal Push quick. Bitter Triumph. It might be a little bit late though. I think the damage actually might have been done with the Pyroglyph and things coming out. So I'm not really sure how this is gonna work out. You know. Which one do we get rid of? I think the Baraglyph is probably the threat that we're trying to get rid of here. Probably. So what do we do? Artifact creature, instant speed land. So if I go troll, let's do it like this. So potentially we can maybe win next turn. Not sure. Ah, they just have another one. All right. GG's. That's a lot of back-to-back Goyfs. Maybe we should have a snuff out. It answers Jar Soul and it also answers Pyroglyph. Be instead of a copy of a cool but rude. So we're playing Nethergoy first. And potentially Cobalt Root or Fear of Missing Out. I feel like we should have a Thoughtseize, and we're probably gonna bottom that one. A Barragoyf. What should I do? Which one am I setting up here? I think I'm gonna go with the Cobalt Root here. Got a little bit greedy there. Since I'm looking for a land. It was a surgical. I'm honestly really okay with that. Instantly grabs Pyrogoyf. Oliphant. Mink Scan Boo. So Fear Missing Out is gonna come out next turn. Mink Skin Boo. And then probably Mink Skin Boo is gonna come out the following turn. And make a 4/4. Okay. We'll just have to play Barragoyf, and then hopefully we can get rid of Mink Skin Boo when it comes down. It would even be better if I can actually get to a Phoenix. Okay, so Barragoyf comes down. And then they're gonna play Mink Skin Boo and make a 4/4. Oh, Pyrogoyf. Oh, wow. That's a card. That is indeed a card. Let's attack first. Okay, that somehow sticks. I think opponent is dead. Yeah, I think opponent's dead. Because we have a Detective Phoenix. You know, if they actually were a little bit patient with the surgicals, they could have actually gotten me by exiling things like a more important cards like Detective Phoenix instead of a Fear of Missing Out. Alright, so back-to-back brews that I actually really enjoyed playing. The last one was very sweet because it was very new, Golgari mid-range that was using counters to get some values out of the Hardened Bond. This time around, the Hollow one actually felt pretty nice compared to what it was before. We got some very nice upgrades. The Coolbat Root gives you that, burst potential and reach, which the deck didn't really have before outside of Detective Phoenix. But we also have Goyfs, Nether Goyf, Barrogoyf, coming a little bit better with things like Coolbat Root. When you attack, you can grow these cards immediately because of the looting effect from this card. But at the same time, if it's already upgraded, it can also deal additional 2 damage, which is actually so sick. And the Tarfire edition also helps with Nethergoyf, Barrogoyf, Fear of Missing Out, and the Marauding Mako could also grow at a relatively fast speed just because we have, Coolbat Root being on the battlefield, which is also enabling the Marauding Mako. So we got a lot of synergies going on here. And of course, bonus points if you also have like a looting with the Hollow one and Detective Phoenix. Things can go pretty crazy. As for the sideboard, I kind of focus my sideboard around auras and affinity. Affinity, we have 2 meltdowns plus a Brother's End, but auras we have things like Bitter Triumph, Nowhere to Run, and everything else we have things like Thought Seizes, Fire Magic against the Food Chain deck, which isn't as popular. I think a lot of people are refusing to craft the deck because not only is it really kind of frustrating to play, but it's also frustrating to play against. I think a lot of people probably also think the deck is probably going to get banned, so they're refusing to craft it. You don't see as many Food Chain decks around at the moment, so Fire Magic just becomes a little bit worse compared to Brother's End. Potentially the deck might want something like a Licensed Hearse, or another copy of a Surgical if you run into too many graveyard decks. But I think what we got going on here is pretty good already. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye bye.